Okay, I don't see any new chats, so I'm going to go into this segment on it was an interaction I had with another streamer, a communist actually. And I was in the position you're in right now, if you're in the chat. I was just in the chat, and I thought it might be a good idea to go over that interaction. So there is, let's see, how do I want to set this up? There's a streamer who goes by the name of Straighterade. Her actual name is Erin, Erin, but her streaming name is Straighterade. Actually, I can I'll bring up the video now. Let me go to her channel. And it's not like a tight secret that her actual name is Erin. I mean, it's said in many places on YouTube and many videos, but she was a little surprised, somewhat surprised that I knew her name when I went in her chat. Um, Let me share this screen. So as I said, she's a communist, which also not really a secret. Um, there's some clip that was going around maybe a couple of weeks ago where she says it, and she says it in my interaction with her. She says she's a communist. So, all right, let me share this. All right, so that's her channel, Straighterade. She has 1.58K subscribers, and she does live stream as well. There she is. And I'm looking for the one. Okay, I think this one over here is the one that I participated in. If you just hover the cursor over the thumbnail, it shows you a few seconds of the video. It just kind of loops. So let me open this. Actually, so she also streams on a different platform called Twitch, and I think that's her primary stream platform. So, um, but I found her on YouTube, and at first I was in her YouTube chat. Look how long this stream is. 8 hours and 33 minutes and 41 seconds. That might be the longest stream she's done, which happened to be the one I was part of. All these others look shorter, but she does a lot of long streams. Um, but I found her stream on YouTube, and I said a few things in the chat, but she wasn't replying to it or acknowledging it in any way. So I thought, oh, maybe she's looking at a different chat. So then I went over to Twitch, which also has its own chat. And turns out that's the one she actually engages with. So that's the one let me bring that up. I'm gonna bring up well, actually, if you, before I go there, let me just open this one. Oh, I didn't share the volume. I might have to reshare the volume. But before I do that, you can see over here. So it shows she's down in the corner, and then she's reacting to this video of Konstantin Kisin, who's got this channel Triggermetry, and there's some way that she has of making the chat display on the screen. Now, I don't have that. You don't see your own chats showing up on the screen. They're just down in the chat box. But she's got some way to make the chats on from Twitch show up here on the screen. And I think many Twitch streamers do this. Maybe I'll figure out how to do that at some point. But I'm going to go over to the Twitch platform where you might be able to see the chats better. I'm not sure what's going to work best for our purposes here, but I at least want to open the Twitch stream. So give me a moment to paste that. Okay, yeah, this is the same stream. There's Ann Coulter. She's reacting to a video by her. So you see the same chat appearing on the screen, but you actually see, here's the actual chat that's being drawn over to here. So this is the live chat which I was participating in, and this gets piped over to YouTube and displayed on the screen. So let me just make sure sure this is showing up right on my phone. And I got to remember to share the sound. Okay. Let me just stop the share for a few seconds so I share the sound. All right. So I forgot to check that option when I originally shared it. Okay. So now you should be able to hear the sound. And I guess I can check that on my end just to confirm. Let me play a little of it. Guess I'll play, actually, let me play a little of this. Turn the volume all the way up.
I'm asking, I'm a first generation immigrant to this country, and I've always been hugely in favor of.
Okay. That's working. Okay, so let me go back to my notes, see make sure there's some other things I might want to say to set this up. Okay, so what is she talking about in this video? Or at least this part of the video. She is talking about Ann Coulter being racist, as evidenced by her. So Ann Coulter, she's a conservative commentator, and she said that she would not vote for Vivek Ramaswamy because he's Indian. And Straighterade is calling her racist for taking this attitude. And what I said in the YouTube chat before I switched over to the Twitch chat, I said racism is a form of collectivism, because I know Erin is a collectivist, being a communist. If you're a communist, you're a collectivist. And she was talking about racism, so I said racism is a form of collectivism. And, by one further step, racism is connected to communism. So she was against racism, and I was pointing out, well, you've got something similar going on. You're another kind of collectivist if you're a communist. But I didn't make the full connection explicit. At first, I just connected racism to collectivism on the YouTube chat, and then she didn't reply to that. And then I realized, oh, maybe she's not looking at the YouTube chat, so I have to go over to the Twitch chat, and then on the Twitch chat, I said, well, oh, she was talking about how uh, Vivek is not being treated as an individual. Ann Coulter is dismissing him just because he's an Indian, even though he personally, she was saying, well, Ann Coulter was saying, well, like immigrants in general are against freedom of speech and Second Amendment right to bear arms. I don't know if this is true, but this is what I think. I think that's what Ann Coulter was claiming. And the person interviewing Ann Coulter, this Konstantin Kisin guy, from Triggermetry, he was saying, well, even if that's true about immigrants, what about Vivek? What is his position as an individual? Is he against free speech? Is he against um, Second Amendments? And then it was around that point where Erin Straighterade said that Ann was not treating Vivek as an individual, and she said he was making racist assumptions. Um, and then because she was making this point that Ann Coulter wasn't treating people as individuals. It wasn't treating, in particular, she wasn't treating Vivek as an individual. Then I piped up in the chat and I said, "Does communism treat people as individuals?" So, again, showing there's a similar mindset between what Erin is in favor of, communism, and then also what she's against, racism. So is she really against collectivism, or she's just against one form of collectivism, racism, but she's not against communism. So I wanted to start a discussion by making this asking this question as to whether communism treats people as individuals, and just see where it went. So let me play a little of that, and then maybe I'll pause at certain points to make further comments. But that's the setup for all this. Okay, so I want to start at um, I have my notes in terms of the YouTube timestamps, so maybe it'll be better to play the YouTube video rather than the Twitch. So let me go to, it looks like 4:47:20. 4 hours, 47 minutes, and 20 seconds into her YouTube video. I think that's where I want to start playing. It looks like 4:47:20. Okay, so let me cue that up. All right, 4:47. Okay, let me just go back a few seconds and I'll play, I don't know, about a minute, or actually here, let me pull up my notes on my phone. I think that'll make it easier for me to keep track of what I need to keep track of here. Uh, okay, yeah, I think I'll play about 30 seconds, 25, 30 seconds, and then skip ahead to another part. Okay, here we go.
I'm a first generation immigrant to this country, and I've always been hugely in favor of really strong assimilation policies, right? But didn't you have this controversial moment with Vivek, who I think you'd agree is smart and has assimilated, where you said you wouldn't vote for him because he's Indian?
Yeah, for president. I didn't say I wouldn't vote for him. I said he could be, senator. He's running for Senate now.
Why?
Wow. Why? I mean, he's like genuinely confused how much of a fucking racist he is. Do you know who you're talking to, dude?
Okay, so there you hear her calling her a racist because Ann Coulter says she won't vote for Vivek because he's Indian. And I think it's about that point where I say in the Twitch chat, actually, maybe you can you're gonna I think you'll see it appear over here at some point. You'll see my chat where I say does communism... Oh, actually, yeah, let me put a little more before I make my chat about communism. Yeah, let me fast forward a few minutes to that point. Let's see, 4:52:22. That's close enough. Okay. I'm just trying to weed out all the parts of the conversation that is not relevant. So sometimes I'm gonna have to skip forward a few minutes while she talks about other things. But okay. So here's where she talks about treating people as individuals.
But I'll keep looking into it while we watch.
Vivek support free speech and gun rights?
Konstantin just asked, does Vivek support free speech and gun rights? You can see here in the closed caption here, they have it doesn't get it perfectly. But just before this, Ann Coulter had been making the point that immigrants in general don't support these things, I guess, which she's in favor of. I don't know if that's true, but that was the claim. And then Konstantin, the interviewer, saying, well, okay, but does Vivek, as an individual, does he at least support free speech and gun rights? Like, even if it's true that the immigrants don't support these things, as long as Vivek does, isn't he still worth supporting? Even though doesn't matter if he's an Indian, right? It's the individual's views that matter. Okay, so that's let me just play it again.
I'll
Okay,
keep looking
here we
into it
go.
while we watch.
Vivek support free speech and gun rights?
The point is still the same, and that is...
I was about to say, she's not going to treat these people like a fucking individual. So even if Vivek Ramaswamy himself is very, very pro free speech or very, very pro 2A, that doesn't matter because she is generalizing. She is making racist assumptions. It does not matter.
Okay, so she says Ann Coulter is not treating Vivek as an individual. She's making racist assumptions. And I think this is the point where I make my chat, which I guess should appear on screen there soon. Maybe I should try to expand this, make it a little easier to see, a little bigger. I'm going to keep an eye out for my chats, which looks like it comes at 4:53:46. Yeah, let me fast forward a little bit. $4:53. I'll just start playing from there. I'll play another 20 seconds or so, and you'll see the relevant part where I start chatting. Oh, there it is. Actually, yeah, I see it appears right here. That's me, Dan Norton 1. And this is my first chat on the Twitch chat. Does communism treat people as individuals? I ask, knowing that she is a communist. So let's hear what she has to say about that.
Lives to believe it. I want it generation after generation after generation. I don't want it to have to be something they need to study and figure out this is what they're supposed to say about it.
But aren't there loads of white Americans who don't believe it in either of those amendments?
Sure.
But you would...
A lot. No, that's not true. No.
Does communism treat people as individuals? See, I'm a communist. And right now, I'm about to demonstrate to you that I will treat you like an individual because even though you're a first-time chatter and you are coming in here asking a troll question for the first time, I will still not ban you unless you continue to do something very, very annoying or you break TOS. So enjoy my chat.
Okay, so that's her first reply to me. She says I'm asking a troll question, but she's going to show me how she treats me as an individual and not ban me. I don't know if that means like if you're anti-communist, she's not going to lump me in with every anti-communist. I'm not sure how not banning me means she's treating me as an individual. But anyways, she says I ask a troll question there. That I'm going to come back to that later. But she's not going to ban me for doing that. Unless I do something very annoying or break terms of service, she says. Okay, so now I'm going to go forward about a minute. There's many instances, like she interacts with me, I don't know how many times like maybe 5, 10 times. Um, so I'm going to fast forward to the next part where she interacts with me or something related to me happens. Like another person who was on the chat, this person Mobius, I guess you can see up here his, yeah, Mobius 636. He gifts a subscription to her channel to me. I don't know if you're aware, like you can do that. Like on YouTube, you can gift a subscription to other people in the chat who are there live, and then they can get the special membership perks that are available to people who pay a certain amount per month. So I got a gift subscription to her channel from one of the other chatters in her chat, and I'm just going to fast forward to the point where that happens.
There are Muslim Israelis.
Right, and they serve in the Supreme
There's
Court
the
and they
gift.
can be elected president.
Mobius 636, thank you so much for the gifted sub to Dan Norton 1, who is curious about communism in my chat and does not understand why it's a troll question.
So she again says that I asked a troll question. And I'm going to come back to that, the troll issue. That's the next thing. I come back to in the next segment. I'm going to play. Let me just scroll forward to that. Scrub forward, is that the term? Scrub? 456. Okay. So here I want to know why she says it's a troll question. Oh, let me you can see it in the chat if I back up a little. Yeah, right there. I ask, why is that a troll question? And then she's going to reply to that.
Just going to be a one-term flash in the pan built around the cult of Trump.
Can someone explain why it's a troll question if Erin won't? Isn't it cute how Dan Norton is pretending like, oh, I'm a first-time chatter. I've never asked any other question in this chat. Why do you know my name? I haven't said my name.
Okay. So she reads my question, and this time I include her name in my question. Not knowing it's some kind of secret. Like I didn't know, like, am I supposed to address her as Straighterade rather than Erin? I guess that's what she expects, but I don't know that's the convention on her channel. I guess I know now. But anyways, I say, can someone explain why it's a troll question if Erin won't? Yeah, that's right here. And then she replies, isn't it cute how Dan Norton is pretending like, oh, I'm a first-time chatter. I've never asked any other question in this chat. Why do you know my name? I haven't said my name. Now, why is that relevant to it being a troll question? Is it a troll question because I address her by her name? Why does that make it a troll question? I guess if you know that the convention is call her Straighterade and then you deliberately violate it, maybe that could be construed as a way of trolling, like if she doesn't like to be called by her actual name. But how am I supposed to know that? You know, I could just be some random person stumbling on her channel, which I basically was. I've never chatted with her before. So is everyone in the universe supposed to know that if you go to her Twitch channel, you're supposed to address her as Straighterade rather than Erin? So this is very flimsy, weak evidence that this is a troll question. I just don't think it's relevant. Okay, so now let me scroll forward a couple minutes where some other people in the chat start recognizing me from Majority Report. So you might know that I've called into Sam Seder's show. He's a leftist political commentator. I've called his show many times, And that's one of the largest platforms I've been in. And there's a lot of overlap between the audiences of people who are on the left, apparently including Erin, the communist's audience, because some people in her chat here recognize me and they say, "Oh, are you the guy from the Majority Report?" Or the famous libertarian caller, even though I don't call myself a libertarian. That's how they call me often. Is this the so let me go to that part where people start recognizing me from the Majority Report. 45907. Okay. So here you can see it on the screen already. This person, Physics Y, says, "Wow, the Dan Norton, famous Majority Report libertarian caller and not infertile at all." That's a reference to in the first time I called the Majority Report. I mentioned that in the chat room on the Majority Report, someone called me infertile. I have no idea why. It seemed pretty random, but maybe they were just trying to get under my skin in some way. But someone randomly called me infertile in the YouTube chat of I guess this was the day before I called into the Majority Report for the first time. And then the next day, I told Sam when I called in, I said, I was on the YouTube chat yesterday and people were saying this silly nonsense garbage like I'm infertile. And then this just kind of stuck in. They always, people in that audience, or at least many of them, they now associate this term infertile with me. And I guess it's stuck in this person's head. And it's become this running joke. So that's why there's that at the end. All right, so let me just play about 20 seconds for this segment.
They were doing his PR for him by advertising his single most popular policy. And even though it didn't take bravery, it took,
Is this chatter really the Dan Norton, famously Majority Report libertarian caller, and not infertile at all? And I'm looking, and there is a YouTube channel.
She found my YouTube channel.
There's a YouTube video from somebody, Dan Norton. My calls to the Majority Report with Sam Seder. Ayn Rand, Social Security, and money. Did we just find like a gold mine of content here?
Okay, so I don't know if someone sent her a link to my playlist on my YouTube channel or she just found it herself. But anyways, she comes across my channel and asks if she just found a gold mine. I don't know if that means like she wants to go through this content and react to it. But anyways, that was the next time she engaged with me. And then people start asking her to debate me now. Or at least they ask her to debate me, but she says she doesn't want to do it right now. Maybe later. So let me go to that segment. Let me just Dutzy says in the chat, on my chat now, she says she didn't send you to the gulag right away. LOL. Yeah, that's true. Did not get an immediate block. All right, I gotta go to, I think this is a good place. Okay. Oh, I ask her here. You can see it on the screen. I say, want to debate? And then this person says, LOL, please get this guy Dan on. Debate, debate, debate. All right.
Maybe talking about 2016. She's not wrong. The thing that she's leaving out, though, is yes, there were polls that showed 70% of Americans. Do I want to debate? Do I want to debate libertarianism right now? Dan Norton, I would want nothing more than to debate libertarianism libertarianism with you, objectivism, Ayn Rand, of course, but not right now. Sorry, not.
Okay, she says she wants nothing more than to debate libertarianism with me, but not right now. And I tell her later that I'm not a libertarian. But now she's going to she'll continue a little more addressing the people who are calling for a debate right now.
This moment, but if you come back, we can debate it. Please get Dan on. You guys. You want me to just be you just want me to get BTFO'd, obviously.
BTFO'd. I looked that up. I think it's short for beat the expletive out. So I guess it's a way of saying, do you want me to get like slaughtered in debate if I do it right now? I guess she wants some time to prepare for it, because she's not ready to debate it right now. But she goes on a little bit more on this.
Please get Dan on. You guys. You want me to just be you just want me to get BTFO'd, obviously. This is a high-minded Ayn Rand objectivist supporter. Okay? And he came in asking about communism. And he came in on a first name basis. I don't want to get outclassed. I clearly need to study. I'm going to study objectivist thought, Ayn Rand thought all night and prepare for my debate with Dan Norton. It's only right. Do I send him a link to the Discord? Yeah, but I'm not going to debate him right now. I am being serious about that because I do want to get through this.
Okay, yeah. She keeps getting distracted by me and other people in the chat who are calling for a debate while she's trying to get through her reaction content to Ann Coulter. But there's still going to be, I think, a few more interruptions before it's all over. So she says she wants to debate me, but she needs to study first, or else she's going to be outclassed. She says, I think there's a little more to this segment. Yeah, let me just play a few more seconds.
Even the Republicans like Rubio, who pushed an amnesty and was, the most beloved.
Debate him on Ann, but he wants to debate on communism. Mobius.
Okay, yeah, so you see here on screen, someone asked to debate him on Ann Coulter, but she says he wants to debate on communism. I didn't specifically want to have a debate on communism. I just wanted to have a debate. Communism happened to be the topic I started with, but it didn't have to be the main subject of the debate. We could have talked about individualism versus collectivism, or egoism versus altruism, something like that. But anyways, I guess this person is trying to, as a way of having me debate now, this person suggests, okay, we'll debate him on the topic that you're discussing now. Then it'll be relevant, and it'll make sense to do it now rather than waiting until later. And this person asks, are you running from him? I guess implying that she might be scared to debates because she's not doing it right now, which is not necessarily the case, but I guess that's the implication of the question. This is her moderator, Oscar the Sheep, Twitch VER, and he's asking her if he should send me a link to her Discord. He actually did. So Discord is another platform where you can interact with people, and I guess she takes calls through Discord, and later she'll say that's how I should get in touch with her. Okay, but let me go forward ahead a little bit to by the way, do feel free to jump in the chat. I encourage you to do that if you have questions on some other, or comments on some other topic, because after I get through this segment, I'm going to want to have other material to engage with. So I definitely encourage you to put anything in the chat that you want me to talk about later. Okay, so let me forward a little ahead. Oh, actually, that's just a few more seconds ahead. Yeah, this is where she says she's not scared to debate me. She just wants to get through her segment on Ann Coulter. So let me just play that little bit.
Though.
Republican over at Fox News, where they love amnesty. Every Republican, when Trump ran in 2016, every Republican supported amnesty.
I'm not actually scared of debating this person, Oscar. I just want to finish this.
At the
Okay. She's addressing Oscar there. She's who says, Erin, Ayn Rand has nothing that you won't be able to destroy. I guess maybe he thinks she was scared, and that's why she doesn't want to debate. And he's saying, he's reassuring her, like, no, you have nothing to worry about. She says nothing you can't destroy. And then she says she's not scared. She just wants to get through her segment. I might be repeating myself or repeating her too much. This is something I'll get more practice on, like reacting to someone who's reacting to me in a stream and figuring out like how much to narrate and how much to just let it play. Okay. So then next segment I'm going to play is I'm going to ask her if I can post the debate on my channel after it happens, because that's something I always like to do. I like to get permission of the host to put the debate on my channel as well, because I want to use it for content for my own channel if possible. But I want to make sure that I'm not violating copyright, stealing anyone's content. So if I'm not the host of a debate, if I'm going onto someone else's channel for a debate, I want to get permission, which usually is granted, but sometimes it's not. But let's see what she says when I ask whether I can post a debate on my channel. That's does that show up in the chat? Oh yeah, right here. It says, can I post the debate on my channel after it happens? If it does happen, I don't want to assume. Maybe it's going to fall apart. We'll see.
I want all the groceries in one bag, but I don't want the bag to be heavy. So people say that they support mass immigration. You keep pushing. They don't really support mass deportation. Can I post a debate on my channel after it happened? If it does happen, you can post whatever the hell you want, Dan Norton. And yes, it is going to happen. I just don't want to have it right now because I'm in the middle of this. You can post, I will even give you permission to clip out segments from the stream where I am calling you a troll. Go ahead, post it on your fucking channel to your libertarian friends. But like, for all I care, our little back and forth in chat.
So Reagan runs on tap.
Okay, so she's given me permission to post the whole debate or even post clips where she's calling me a troll. And I guess I'm doing that right now. I'm not posting it as its own video, but it's become part of my live stream. I'm posting my little back and forth on my channel now where she's calling me a troll, or at least says I ask a trolling question. And then someone here in the chat suggests donating 500 subs. I guess that's like gifting subs to other people on her channel in order to get the debate. And then next part, someone says she should, oh yeah, right here. First issue, Age of Consents. Like people often think that libertarians are subject to this criticism. They think like adults should be able to have sex with children. And I think there are some libertarians who hold this view. Otherwise, are infringing with their freedom to do what they want, which I think is a distorted, perverted view of freedom. But I'm not a libertarian, so and I'm certainly not like, even if I were a libertarian, I think there might be some who don't accept that, you know, there's no such thing as an age of consent. So, but anyways, this doesn't apply to me. But in some of these people's minds, I guess they think it does, because they raise this sort of objection. So I think the next thing I say is, or at least soon I say that I'm not a libertarian, to distance myself from some of these sorts of objections. So let me play that part.
I mean, it'll be a libertarian debate is always fun. If you debate a libertarian long enough, they will eventually describe a state.
Wait, that wasn't the oh, I got to go back a little bit. I missed the part about age of consent where she reads that. Let me just go back a few seconds. I think that's probably further back than I need to go to, but let me try that.
8%. So he runs on cutting taxes, and unlike Trump's first term, he kept his promises.
First issue, age of consent. I mean, it'll be a libertarian debate is always fun. If you debate a libertarian long enough, they will eventually describe a state.
Yeah, so she thinks I'm anti-state. If you debate a libertarian long enough, they will eventually describe a state. Like you can maneuver them into saying, oh, I guess you should set it up this way in order to avoid this problem. And you end up saying there should be a state. But many libertarians are anti-state or anti-government. So that makes me really want to clarify that I'm not a libertarian. I am not susceptible to these sorts of objections. You might have other objections, but not these.
Taxes. Now, since then, my idiot Republican
Party... When I eventually do debate you, Jan Norton, we can like set a timer for how long it takes for a state to pretty much be created in our debate.
Yeah, that's where she just reiterates that I am going to be in favor of a state, which I am, but a limited state, right? Not her kind of communist states. Not an all-powerful state. That would be statism. I'm against statism, not simply that there being a state. Okay. And then, oh yeah, here's where I say in the chat, you can see on screen, I'm not a libertarian. I'm not anti-state. I just think the state should be limited in its function.
Keeps running on cutting taxes, but the only difference...
I'm not a libertarian. I'm not anti-state. I just think the state should be limited in its function. Are you, what, like a minarchist? Sorry, I'm getting the terminology wrong.
Okay, so yes, now she's not sure what to call me. She wonders if she should call me a minarchist. I actually don't use that term because it suggests, like, if you envision a spectrum, a political spectrum, that I'm close to the anarchists. On the very extreme end, when you have no government at all, that's anarchy. And then minarchy is just a little bit of government. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum would be like totalitarian governments, right? But I don't think I'm very close to anarchy on a spectrum. I think anarchy is radically different from the sort of society I envision. So that's a reason that I don't think minarchism is a good term for the view of limited government, which I support, which Ayn Rand supports, because it has this implication that you want some system which is similar, just a little bit different from anarchism, whereas I think there's a radical difference. I think Greg Salmieri he's an objectivist philosopher. He has a very good talk which addresses this issue of how to visualize different political ideologies on a spectrum and whether it should be like 3D spectrum or maybe 2D rather than just 1D. Maybe I'll put a link in the chat or the description later to this talk, but I think it's very clarifying. But as for what to call it, if you don't call it libertarianism or minarchism, I mean, capitalism, you could call it that, but I think that term is often misunderstood. I don't know that there's a better term available now. Like you might say libertarianism, were it not for the fact that people have already co-opted that term and used it for something which is quite different. You can make up some neologism, some new term like freedomism, but there might be drawbacks to that. No one's going to have any idea what you're talking about. I mean, they can speculate, but so many people say, yeah, I'm for freedom, but what do they actually mean by freedom? Like, do they mean positive freedom, so-called, like the freedom to take a vacation whenever you want? The freedom to have health care, the freedom not to starve. Like, I think there's a lot of distortions of what genuine freedom actually involves. So I don't think just calling it freedomism is a necessarily a good term to use. I mean, there's only so much you can capture in a term, but maybe capitalism is the best to use right now, given the way people understand it. Even with all their misunderstandings, maybe it's still the best option or the least bad option. I've discussed this issue of what is the best term, I think, on stream before. But anyways, there's only so much you can convey in a single word. You really have to have a discussion with someone to know what they mean by a term. a long form, a longer than just one word exchange to understand someone's view. Okay, so then a few seconds forward, there's another little segment. I think I'll start it there. So now I say what she can call me instead. I say I'm not a oh no, I already read that one. At a certain point, I use the term objectivist and say you can call me that. I think that's in this next segment. And also we start debating substantive issues a little bit, which I think you'll hear in this next segment. She reads this chat out, and then I'll just start here.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, but I just see the Dems as being so ideologically compromised. Like they know what they need to do.
Sounds like libertarians are trying to rebrand their messaging after getting stomped for decades. Surely not.
And here's where I say what she can call me instead. Okay, but
Libertarians are trying to rebrand their messaging after getting stomped for decades. Surely not. Objectivist, period. I think the only proper functions of the government are police, military, and courts. Of course, they should all be controlled by plutocrats and wealth concentration, because that is inevitably what will happen if that is the world that we lived in.
okay, so I say what I think the government should have: police, military, and courts, and then she says what she thinks will happen. There will be these wealth concentrations. That's inevitable. I guess if you then these wealthy people can control the government with their money, and then that leads to a discussion. I counter that saying like economic power that isn't the same as political power. That's going to come up soon. But let me play a little more of this.
Of course, they should all be controlled by plutocrats and wealth concentration, because that is inevitably what will happen if that is the world that we lived in. I mean, that's increasingly becoming closer to the world that we lived in. Same outcome, different mechanisms used to bring about that outcome, but same outcome.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go fast forward a couple minutes. Okay, here's my next chat on the screen. It's immoral for the government to coerce people. Let's see what she says to that.
And concerns for the immigrants themselves.
And they were to the right of Donald Trump, all of them.
Yes. Yes, Bernie
It's
Sanders.
immoral for the government to coerce people. Do you have an issue with law?
Well, to the right of...
Do I have an issue with law? So she's saying, well, if you're against coercion, then there can't be any law because you need to use force to enforce the law. I think that's the idea. But when I say coerce, I mean the initiation of force. It's fine to use force in retaliation, but not for the government to initiate force. So I'm not against law, but I don't think I get a chance to clarify that. I go on to discussing other issues instead, just because how the chat evolves. But that's what I would say if I had more time in a debate to address that.
Immigrants themselves.
And they were to the right of Donald Trump, all of them.
Yes. Yes, Bernie
It's
Sanders.
immoral for the government to coerce people. Do you have an issue with law?
Sanders,
Well, to the right of 2016 Trump.
right. And Bernie Sanders, when he ran in 2016,
totally. He said it drives down American workers' wages.
Which it does.
Which it does.
And then he flipped.
Yeah.
Because he went back
It's notice it's immoral for the government to coerce people, but private actors with lots and lots of capital and money, completely fine for them to coerce people into whatever the fuck they want.
No, private actors cannot coerce people. They can make people offers. They can use money to try to persuade people, but that is not coercion. They're not initiating force. You can walk away from people who make you financial offers. I often tell people who make this kind of point, okay, if you think wealth enables you to coerce people, okay, try to coerce me. Try to bribe me. So Erin here, if you want to make me a communist, bribe me. Give me $10,000 to start promoting communism. See if it works. See if you can make me do it just by making me an offer. I think I say something about that in the chat next. Yeah, here I say private individuals don't have the legal power to coerce.
I think her mom is also born in the Bronx as well. There's no reason to think that fucking AOC is an immigrant.
like a baby in front of George Floyd's gold casket.
Yeah, I remember, yeah.
Private individuals don't have the legal power to coerce. No, they don't have the legal power. They just have all of the money in the world and capital. Billionaires, I mean.
Just an absolute soy boy pussy on
You just
this.
can't acknowledge that because your entire system would fall apart.
Well, guess what? They just had the Democratic primary, and he lost.
Really?
There's more types of coercion in this world than just legal coercion. There is money.
It's not coercion. As I just explained, if you think money is coercion, offer me some money and see if you can coerce me to start promoting communism just by giving me money.
AOC took the place, and I wrote about this in
the article. It says she's born in Puerto Rico. Oh, hold on. Oh wait, how did I not read that? It was the same sentence. Her mother was born in Puerto Rico. That is America. Okay. Economic power is not political power. God, we're gonna have fun when I fucking debate you.
If you debate me, not sure that's gonna happen. We'll see. Let me go ahead a little bit more. 5, 10, 16.
we'll bring in all these third worlders, and they'll vote for us.
See my chat there? She's going to read that.
It never occurred to them that the third worlders might want to run for office, and they
You can't force my mind with a gun. I mean, yes, you can coerce them, right? But
So this is a somewhat different point. I was saying before, you can't force me to do something by making me a financial offer. You can't coerce me with money. Here I'm saying you can't coerce my mind with a gun. You can coerce me to do something, but you can't, what I mean there is you can't change my mind just by threatening me with force. I'm not sure that was the best point for me to make there. It's because as you see, it's a slightly different point. Like you can't make someone believe something like 2 + 2 is 5 just by threatening them with force. Which is true, but I'm not sure that's the most relevant point for me to make there. But anyway, she replies to that. Let's hear her reply.
might want to run for office, and
you
they
can't force my mind with a gun. I mean, yes, you can coerce them, right? But I can. What if I gave you $300,000? What if I gave you $1 million? What wouldn't you do at that point for me?
There's a lot of things I wouldn't do for you at that point. For one thing, I wouldn't start promoting communism. So she thinks that just because you offer someone a lot of money, you can get them to do anything, but that's not true. And you can't you can't coerce someone's mind. Like, you can't coerce me to believe that communism is good or that religion is good by offering me a lot of money. I might pretend I do. I might mouth the words, but that's not forcing me to believe something. So I think people often have a incorrect view of the power of money. They think just because you offer money, then you can get someone to do anything. Maybe that says something about them and whether they have integrity, that all you have to do is offer them the right amount of money and they will do whatever you want to. Um, Maybe that's a kind of like intellectual prostitution. An intellectual whore. You will say and believe anything if someone just offers you the right amount. Um, all right. Let me go ahead to actually let me take a quick look at the chat, see if there's any new messages coming in. Oh, RW is here. Hello, Greg Lewis is here. Okay, good. We got some more chats. I'll read through these after I finish this segment. I think we're coming up to the end, but let me just go through this a little more of this. Okay, so I went to fast forward. Oh, like I got to go ahead like 10 minutes now to the next part where she addresses me. Okay. Okay, so there's my next chat. You can see I ask her about arranging a debate. Should we DM about it on X or Twitter? And then I think we're going to come back to the troll issue in this segment. Remember, she called at the very beginning, she said I was asking a troll question. And that's going to come back into the discussion, that issue. Okay, here we go.
Discord at Straighterade.
Gonna take it. You got to cut off the boat.
But we're not having a conversation.
Oh, wait, I didn't
loved
go back
that,
far
but
enough.
I loved him acting like he's just talking like Starmer's
How/when should we arrange a debate? DM on X. Do not DM me on X. You can message me on Discord at Straighterade.
gonna take it. You got to cut off the boat.
Okay, so she says message her. Oh, yeah, send her a message on Discord to arrange the debate. But let's see what she says. She's going to add something to that.
He's just talking like Starmer's
How/when should we arrange a debate? DM on X. Do not DM me on X. You can message me on Discord at Straighterade.
gonna take it. You got to cut off the boat.
But we're not having a conversation. Dan Norton won until you acknowledge that you came in here asking a troll question. You pretended and played dumb like you weren't asking me a troll question and then moved on from that. If you are not going to acknowledge that in my chat right now, there is nothing to fucking discuss, okay? As fun as it would be to fucking embarrass an objectivist live on stream, I'm not going to do it unless you can acknowledge that you came in with a troll question, because how would you know that I'm a communist? You were a first-time chatter. How would you know my first name? You've clearly seen me before this.
Okay, so she comes back to the accusation of a troll question. I was asking a troll question, and she says we're not going to have a conversation or a debate unless you acknowledge that you asked the troll question. And she says I was pretending. You pretended and played dumb, like you weren't asking me a troll question, and then moved on from that. If you are not going to acknowledge that in my chat right now that you were being a troll, playing dumb, there's nothing to effing discuss. Okay? As fun as it would be to embarrass an objectivist. So she's doubling down on this troll claim, and I don't concede that. I think it was a legitimate non-troll question. I mean, I think it was a challenging question. Like, I'm challenging her viewpoint by showing there is this similarity between her viewpoint and racism. Racism doesn't respect the individual, and communism doesn't respect the individual. They're two forms of collectivism. So it's a legitimate question to ask. It's a question that's good to ask in a debate. So I don't think there's anything troll about it. It's just a challenging question. So I think it's a smear for her to say I'm acting like a troll there, or pretending, plain dumb, like I don't know why it's a troll question. She doesn't recognize that it's an honest, sincere, legitimate kind of objection for someone to raise. I mean, that's what it is in my mind. So I'm not going to concede that point. I'm not conceding the troll thing. We'll see if she does. Um, so I come back and object to what she just said here. But let me just back up a little bit. I think maybe that segment is worth playing again, because she seems like she gets a little more animated there, and she's putting her foot down, and she's drawing a line and say, yeah, it'd be fun to debate you and embarrass you, um, but not going to happen unless you do it on my terms and concede the rightness of my claim that you were asking a troll question. Um, let's hear that again.
About.
But we're not having a conversation, Dan Norton, one, until you acknowledge that you came in here asking a troll question. You pretended and played dumb like you weren't asking me a troll question, and then moved on from that. If you are not going to acknowledge that in my chat right now, there is nothing to fucking discuss, okay? As fun as it would be to fucking embarrass an objectivist live on stream, I'm not going to do it unless you can acknowledge that you came in with a troll question, because how would you know that I'm a communist? You were a first-time chatter. How would you know?
How would I know you're a communist? Because I saw it in clips that were blasted across the internet a couple of weeks ago. It's not like some super secret that it's hard to find out. How would I know your name is Erin? Yeah, that's what she asked and asks.
My first name. Because how would you know that I'm a communist? You were a first-time chatter. How would you know my first name? You've clearly seen me before this.
So what? So I know your first name. You're all over YouTube, and people say your name all over the place. What the hell does that have to do with being a troll? I address you by your first name, and I know you're a communist because this information is widely available on the internet. And a first-time chatter, how is a first-time chatter supposed to know that you have some convention on your live stream of you're supposed to address you by Straighterade rather than your name? So this is very shoddy evidence that I'm asking a troll question. The fact that you're appealing to this, it shows, I think you have I mean, it doesn't make for a strong argument. It's a very weak argument for the claim that someone is a troll. She said, I've clearly seen her before. Yeah, and I've clearly seen her widely viewed clips, which includes her name and her saying that she's a communist. Okay, and she's going to get to my response soon. She changed the viewer to a full view, so now the chat's over here, and yeah, I guess my next chat's going to be my longest, and that's going to show up soon here on the screen, I guess. I think she's about to take a break on her stream. That's why she cut the screen share of the video she had, and now she takes up the full screen.
On stream, I'm not going to do it unless you can acknowledge that you came in with a troll question, because how would you know that I'm a communist? You were a first-time chatter. How would you know my first name? You've clearly seen me before this.
Yep.
You send him home in the Safety Act, cut taxes, as if he's just, putting his arm around him, giving him some.
Oh, actually, I have to fast forward a few minutes to get to the place where I respond. I wonder if she's going to see this and do a counter response on her stream sometime, or maybe one of her viewers will see this and send it to her, and maybe she'll react to it. Maybe I should put her name in the title to make it more likely that someone in her community comes across this, or at least people who are interested in her content will more likely see this video. All right. I think this is about where I need to start for the next. Where's my next comment? It should appear. I'm looking for it in the chat on the screen. Oh no, I guess it was before that. Oh yeah, there's part of it. Maybe the whole chat doesn't. You can see right here on it says this is me talking, but it's when she shifts view here from the screen share window she has to it's just her. I guess my chat is right at the edge there, so it happened to the transition happened right when I put my chat in, so you don't see the beginning of my chat, and you don't see the if I scroll back, I don't think you don't see it here. But I think I can remember, like it says, so the part before this it says, sure, I've seen you on YouTube where your name has been said right here. That's where it starts. Your name has been said. I've seen you many times on YouTube where your name has been said. So I'm explaining this is how I know your name. And I saw a clip where you said you are a communist, because she said, how do you know I'm a communist? I don't think this should be some big mystery. But I answered her questions as to how I know her name and how I know she's a communist. And then I say, because I think this is more relevant, I say, but you haven't defended your claim that it was a troll question. I mean, just saying that I know your name and I know you're a communist, that doesn't substantiate the case that I'm being a troll, or at least it's a very weak justification for thinking someone is a troll. So I say, I've been polite. Are you not open to polite, challenging questions? Not open to civil debates? So how does she take that? We'll see how she responds to that.
Genes are passed down. It's a weird ad. Okay, Dan Norton has responded. Sure, I've seen you lots of places on YouTube. Hold on, my thing keeps moving around. What did you say? Sure, I've seen you in lots of places on YouTube where your name has been said, and I saw a clip where you said you were a communist, but you haven't defended your claim that it was a troll question. I've been polite. Are you not open to polite, challenging questions? Not open to civil debate? I'm not sea lioning, BTW. Yeah, okay, dude.
Okay, so that's her response. She calls me a sea lion. So maybe you haven't heard this term before. So this is a term for someone who is asking disingenuous questions. They're like they pretend they're not acting like a troll and just trying to get under someone's skin and be an annoying gadfly for the sake of getting someone upset. They just pretend, oh, I'm just being polite and civil here. And they're really not. They have some other nefarious agenda. They're trying to troll, which I wasn't. I was asking a genuine question. I was trying to get a debate started. So she's saying this sarcastically, like as if she were me. She's, oh, I'm not sea lioning, as of course, like it's obvious. Oh yeah, that's what you're doing. And then she's like, okay, dude, yeah, like I really believe that. That's the idea behind the thought. Let me just play that again.
Okay, Dan Norton has responded. Sure, I've seen you lots of places on YouTube. Hold on, my thing keeps moving around. What did you say? Sure, I've seen you in lots of places on YouTube where your name has been said, and I saw a clip where you said you were a communist, but you haven't defended your claim that it was a troll question. I've been polite. Are you not open to polite, challenging questions? Not open to civil debate? I'm not sea lioning, BTW. Yeah, okay, dude.
She shows a bit more in a second.
Lol, that impression. I could probably do the whole thing and like sound exactly like her. We can debate King, but you're fucking trolling, dude.
Okay, so she doubles or triples down there or quadruples down there on the trolling claim. She says, now she said, we can debate King. She's calling me King. But you're effing trolling, dude. Now, before she said, I'm not going to do this. We're not going to have a discussion unless unless you concede in this chat right now that you came in here asking a troll question. But now she says, wait, did that go out the window? Is she no longer sticking to that after I stuck by my guns and said, I'm not going to concede that this was a troll question. I was asking a polite, challenging question. Are you not open to civil debate? And now she says, okay, we can debate, King, but you're trolling. Like,
Yeah, okay, dude. The whole thing and like sound exactly like her. We can debate King, but you're fucking trolling, dude.
and I'm not conceding that ever. I will not concede that. So I don't know if the debate is going to happen. Maybe I should insist that she retract her claim that I've been trolling in order to have a debate before I agree to a debate as a sign of respect. I think you should be respectful to someone, and if you call someone a troll and you smear them as a sea lion, which is a way of saying they're not being good faith, they're being disingenuous. That's that's an insult or a criticism of that. They're not being good faith. It's kind of a way of saying someone's not being honest. Should I have a debate with someone who says that about me? Maybe I should put my foot down and say, no, I'm not going to debate you until you retract your claim that this was a troll question. Um, all right. And then, yeah, someone in her chat says shortly after this that what I wrote, the thing that she just read about, oh, I'm just asking challenging questions. Are you not open to polite civil debate? This person in chat says it reads like a sea lion, word for word. So let's go to that part. So the thing is, like, if I came in here actually being rude and insulting and trolling, then she could dismiss me for that. She could say, okay, we're not going to debate because you've been rude. On the other hand, if I'm polite and civil, oh, now you're just being a sea lion. So what can you do? If you're not polite, she can just dismiss me for that. If you are polite, then you're just being disingenuous. So no matter what you do, they'll try to rule you out. So the only way they're willing to debate you, some of these, maybe you'll call them dirty leftists. I'm not sure if she should go in that category. Maybe, given what she's saying, like if the only way some people, there can be dirty rightists too. It's not exclusive to the left, but maybe some people think the only way they can do well in a debate is to hurl insults and ad hominems and smears, and they want to have that are in their arsenal. They want to have those techniques available to them, maybe because they don't feel they can rely just entirely on their arguments themselves. So they have to resort to these other gutter tactics, you might call them, in order to, get the sort of optics that they want in the debate. So I think it's really unfortunate. Like, what am I supposed to do if I'm not polite? Then, I risk being blocked for that, right? If I am polite, then I'm not conceding that there was like pseudo politeness and I was really disingenuous and I'm really a troll. So what can you do? So maybe it's best just to walk away when people act like this, and maybe it's best just not to engage with them, not to debate them, unless they do it on my terms. Which would mean, not calling me a troll without good evidence, which she hasn't done. Or, I mean, she hasn't done it with good evidence. She's called me a troll without good evidence. All right, so we're coming up on the end here. We'll just go to that part where her chatter also makes the sea lion reference. If I go past it.
Funny, I'm doubly, quadruply funny about this is basically since George Floyd, there have been no blonde models, zero. Every TV commercial, every magazine.
That read like a copy pasta, almost word for word, the last panel for the sea lioning comic. I know. Dan Norton knows this.
Nope, I do not know. So she's doubling down on the sea lion thing. Her chatter thinks it, and she says, I know it. She says, Dan Norton knows this. He knows he was being a sea lion. Bullshit. Bullshit. That's what I got to say to that.
Every TV commercial, every magazine.
That read like a copy pasta, almost word for word, the last panel for the sea lioning comic. I know. Dan Norton knows this.
Nope.
Commercial.
You are wrong. You are wrong, Erin. Straighterade. All right, and I say in my next segment, oh, the next one, I don't reply for 10 minutes. Oh, she takes a break. Maybe that's why. Yeah, she takes a break from her stream, so I got to fast forward about 10 minutes. And I think there's only one or two more segments. Yeah. Okay. So here's where she's gonna read one of my replies. 25. I'm looking for my chat on the screen. Oh yeah, there it is. Erin falsely implied I'm disingenuous with her sea lion comments.
Erin falsely implied I'm disingenuous with her sea lion comment. Actually, it's an objectively true fact, given that I am an objectivist.
Oh, she's going to the voice now. Actually, I'm making an objection, a legitimate objection, and then she tries to use this silly voice to imply it's a silly objection. And I'm just making it because I'm an objectivist. I'm an objectivist, and I only do things that are objective. That's such a silly take on what I'm saying. Like I'm appealing to the fact that I'm an objectivist to make the case that what I said is objective. No, it's just a legitimate question you could ask if you're a collectivist. If you're a communist, I don't think you're like making some crazy leap to say, all right, well, I'm a collectivist, not an individualist, so maybe I don't entirely respect the individual. Is that at least a possibility we could explore here? Is this at least a question we could ask? Oh no, you're just being a troll. That's so weak. It's so wrong.
Erin falsely implied I'm disingenuous with her sea lion comment. Actually, it's an objectively true fact, given that I am an objectivist. I am rationally objective at all times. Never trolling, never asking a disingenuous bait question, never coming in to stir shit, never coming in to try to get a fucking debate with me. I'm holding back so much here, and you have no idea. No, I know.
Yeah, she's talking to her moderator right there, who says he's holding back.
Dan, just chill, okay? Save all of this like passive aggressive heat for our actual debate. Just chill. It's fine.
Okay, now she's calling me passive aggressive. So she was replying to her moderator saying he's holding back. I guess he means he's holding back from banning me. Like maybe her moderator Oscar here, Oscar the sheep. I guess he's tempted to ban me, and he's letting her know. So maybe he's worried. She's thinking like, Oscar, you're my mod here. Why aren't you blocking this guy? And he's saying like, I want to, but I'm holding back. I'm holding back so much, Erin. Oh, he used her name. I wonder if he's going to get scolded for that. Or maybe he's okay to do that because I already did it. Um, I'm holding back so much, Erin. You have no idea. Um, and now she said, Dan, just chill. Save the heat for our actual debates. If there is going to be a debate, maybe you need to first concede I wasn't being a troll, or at least see how one might reasonably think I'm not being a troll. Um, it's at least not uh, out of the question it, as to whether it's right to call me a troll. That's something that should be open to a legitimate question. Just chill, it's fine, she says. Wait, I thought it seems like she's softening her stance. Before, remember, she put her foot down. She's like, we're not having a debate unless you concede right now in this chat that you came in asking a troll question. And now she says, like, save it for the debate. Wait, we're going to have a debate? I thought you were putting your foot down before. So why is she softening up now? If you really think I was being a troll, why are you agreeing to have a debate?
Yeah, a troll disingenuous with her sea lion. Erin falsely implied I'm disingenuous with her sea lion comment. Shit, never coming in to stir shit, never coming in to try to get a fucking debate with me. I'm holding back so much, Erin. You have no idea. No, I know. Dan, just chill, okay? Save all of this like passive aggressive heat for our actual debate. Just chill. It's fine.
Passive aggressive. I'm just trying to be reasonable. All right, you're making claims about me. You're calling me a sea lion. You're calling me a troll. You're smearing me by doing this. So I think I'm being pretty calm in my responses. I'm not resorting to insults. I'm not throwing ad hominems at you. I'm asking reasonable questions. I'm putting up reasonable challenges. And if you don't want that, then I'm not going to just give you a license to smear me and then we can just debate like nothing happens. I think maybe if we're going to debate, then you need to retract some things that you've said. Or maybe I'll change my mind. Like it seems you're changing your mind. Maybe you're softening it up. Maybe I'll soften up and be more open to debate. But right now, I'm not feeling too inclined to have a debate. Um, Yeah, it's kind of like with Sam Seder. I think he might have crossed the line for me last year in my last call when he was smearing Ayn Rand and said, I think he was smearing Ayn Rand. And I said, is it just okay to smear Ayn Rand like that, to lies about her? And he said, at one point, he said, like, I think there might be an argument that she should be smeared even more. And after that, I was like, I don't know if I want to have any further calls with this guy. If you're like explicitly okay with just smearing someone, or even maybe smearing someone, like knowingly saying false things about them, um, then that's not good. And I don't think I want to deal with you. So I haven't called Sam Seder's show, but again, since that last call, because I think he might have crossed the line there, at least my line. Maybe people draw their own lines in different places, but I haven't felt like calling his show since then. Yeah, just maybe an aside. So what is smearing exactly? Does it mean knowingly saying something false about someone, or could it just be saying something false in order to, make them look bad, even if you don't know that's what you're saying is false? Like maybe you say Ayn Rand's a hypocrite because she took Social Security, and you don't know that that's false, but you've heard it said by many people, and you repeat this claim. So whereas someone else who knows the reasoning behind it, or someone like who says she died on welfare, she never took welfare. If by that you mean like you're just getting money from the government, it's not part of the Social Security program where you contribute money and then you get some back after you retire. And it's just false that she got just checks from the government, or at least it would be arbitrary. There's no basis for thinking that happens. But if you assert it nonetheless, knowing that there's no basis for it, that would be smearing in the sense of knowingly saying something false. But if you don't know that's false, maybe you heard it from someone you think is reliable, that might still be a smear, because I actually looked up the term smear in some dictionary, at least. I think it just said a false statement that is designed to hurt someone's reputation, whether or not it's a knowingly false statement. I think it might still be a smear. So if that definition is correct, that you don't have to be doing it intentionally, like you don't have to knowingly say something false, then it could be that Erin is smearing me here by calling me a troll. Even if she does in her own mind think that I'm being a troll or a sea lion, it's still nevertheless false and a smear to call me that. All right. Did I have anything else to say on? No, I think I'm going to forward to the last segment here. She's okay. Yeah. So I asked her about the prior conditions she put down. Like she said before, we couldn't debate unless I first conceded that I was trolling. And I said, no, I'm not going to concede that. So let's see that interaction. Oh, now the chat has moved. Oh yeah, here it is. You can see it right there. I won't read it because she's about to read it, I think. I'm trying to get better at not being too repetitive here. So remember in her last segment, she says, we can debate, but save the heat for our actual debate. And I'm thinking, wait, there's going to be a debate? I haven't conceded yet. And before you said I had to concede first before we're going to have a debate. So that's why I have this chat here.
But you said we couldn't have a debate until I first conceded I was trolling, which I wasn't. Dan, I don't give a fuck. Just message me on Discord. We can have a fucking debate.
Okay, so now she's given up on her prior standard. She says she doesn't give an F. I like to keep it clean here. We can have our debates. We can have our effing debates. So I wonder why she changed her stance. Why did she soften up there? Is it because she's starting to sense that I'm right and she was wrong about this, or what? Or maybe she still thinks she's right, but she just changed her mind on how important it is. Maybe she doesn't think it's so bad now that it's worth scuttling a debate over.
But you said we couldn't have a debate until I first conceded I was trolling, which I wasn't. Dan, I don't give a fuck. Just message me on Discord. We can have a fucking debate. You're a fucking sea lion. It's like you are a troll. You are a sea lion. If you can handle me saying that, me baselessly slandering an objectivist in Erin in Straighterades chat, then we can have a conversation. Okay, we can just agree to disagree.
Okay, so she says if I can handle her slandering an objectivist, then we can have the debate. Now, why? So why should I have the debate then? I don't know if I can handle that. Can I handle that? I don't really feel like handling it right now. Why should I put up with that? In other words, should I have to put up with these smears in order to have a debate? I don't think so. Why should I have to put up with that? Like, why should that be a condition under which I agree to debate? Like, the only way for me to have a debate is to open myself to being smeared. So is she just going to smear me some more in the debate then? Is that something I should just be okay with? Is that going to be one of her tactics? I mean, it happens a lot in debates, but I don't like those kinds of debates. I try to avoid them. I don't like going in the gutter. I don't think that's good for a productive conversation. I think if the debate is getting into ad hominems and insults and smears, I don't think it's worth having. Like, I don't want to debate with someone like that. if I can't be civil, then I don't think it's a person worth debating. Or if they can't be civil, um, I don't think it's a person worth debating. I I guess you might. I was just thinking, well, I wonder if I should have debated Sam then, like multiple times. But I don't know that he smeared me in the way that Erin did. I mean, he was kind of mocking in his tone, but I don't know that he never called me a sea lion or a troll. So I don't know that what he has done uh, is as bad as the way Erin has talked about me here, even though I don't think it was good. I think it was somewhat disrespectful, but I can tolerate a certain amount of that. And as I said, where exactly do you draw the line? Um, that might vary from person to person, and I might change my mind about that over time. Like maybe I'll look back in a few years on the Sam Seder debates and decide, yeah, it probably would have been better never to go on there. I don't know, but anyways, at least in this case, the way I feel now about the Erin interaction, I'm not really feeling inclined to have a debate unless she takes back the sea lion or troll comments. I mean, if she said, okay, I still think them privately, but I'm not going to call you that publicly. Okay, maybe I would go along with that. But if she's going to publicly call me a troll and a sea lion and thinks it's okay to do that, then I'm less inclined to debate than if she just thinks it privately in her own mind. I mean, you can think of whatever you want in your own mind, but I think it's a different issue when you make an accusation about someone when you actually speak it and put a claim out there. That's going to change my attitude about whether I want to engage with you. So if she takes back the public claim and at least says, I shouldn't have said that publicly, even though I still think in my own mind, then I guess that would make me more likely if she said like, okay, yeah, I guess I shouldn't have said that publicly, or at least I take it back now. I wouldn't say it publicly in the future, or at least at this point. Um, maybe I'd more likely want to debate her. So, but she quadruples or quintuples down again in this last segment. She calls me a sea lion again and a troll, and then that's going to be the end. So I'll just play that last bit to finish this off here.
Which I wasn't. Dan, I don't give a fuck. Just message me on Discord. We can have a fucking debate. You're a fucking sea lion. It's like you are a troll. You are a sea lion. If you can handle me saying that, me baselessly slandering an objectivist in Erin and Straighterades chat, then we can have a conversation, okay? We can just agree to disagree. What's your natural hair color? Do you need to dye any gray hairs? Yeah, I do. There's the smear. I just smeared an objectivist, so no.
Yeah, when she called me a sea lion and a troll again, I said, there's the smear. And she's like dismissing it. Oh, wow, I smeared an objectivist. Like, who cares? Like, it's not a big deal. Maybe for other people, it's not. Maybe other people have lower standards on how they expect to be treated. Maybe that's a bad thing. And she said, let's just agree to disagree. Why should I do that? So, um, it's, I should just let her smear me as much as she wants, and then she'll just say, okay, well, fine, you don't agree. Let's just agree to disagree. So I should just have a debate, no matter what smears you throw at me, and she'll just say, let's agree to disagree. Is that fair?
Yeah, I do. There's the smear. I just smeared an objectivist, so no. You're the one who came into my chat and you're bitching, dude. Again, agree to disagree.
So I came into her chat. So that licenses her to smear me? I'm bitching? I shouldn't complain if you're smearing me? How does that work? How does that make sense? So you can just smear people who come into your chat? That's what people should be okay with? And if they're not, there's something wrong with them? Why does it matter that I came into your chat? I mean, I don't know that I'm going to come back to your chat, given the way you've been acting, but the fact that I came there once and you smeared me and I put up some resistance, is there something wrong with doing that?
Here, I just smeared an objectivist, so no. You're the one who came into my chat and you're bitching, dude. Again, agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree. Yeah, why should I? Oh, fine. Yeah, I'll agree to disagree, but that doesn't mean we're going to have any future interaction. I think if you want to agree to disagree and then take back some of what you said or say, like I said before, like you wouldn't say that publicly now, then maybe we could agree to disagree and have a debate. But if you're not going to do something like that, then maybe we'll just agree to disagree and not have a debate. And maybe that'll just be the end. We will see. Maybe she'll change her mind, or maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe someone will persuade me I should have a different view of this. But right now, I'm not really feeling like I should have a debate, which is why I haven't contacted her. I haven't contacted her. This happened like, I don't know, a week ago. I don't know the date of this video, but she said send her a DM on Discord to arrange the debate, but I have not done that. And I don't have any plans to do that. Maybe I'll change my mind in the future, but right now I haven't done it. Or maybe she'll change her mind. I don't know. We'll see. But anyways, that's where it stands right now. And I think I say one more thing in the chat, which she does not read. Oh, yeah, there it is. I say, not sure I want to debate if you smear like that. But she doesn't read that one on stream. She at this point, she goes on to her other issues or reading other parts of the chat. But that's the end of our interaction. So there you have it. That's my interaction with Erin, the communist, aka Straighterade. All right, so that was, I don't know how long that segment was. Let me stop the screen share now. And come back to the chat. All right, we got some more people watching, more likes. Thank you very much. It's good to see. John Wayne is here. Hi, John. Dutzy says, man with PhD does research, shocks the internet. Was that what one of the chatters in her chat said? I don't remember seeing that. I didn't see all the chats in her on her Twitch chat. Greg says, damned if you do, damned if you don't. I guess that's in reference to my point that, like, if you're not polite, you can get penalized for that. If you are polite, you can get penalized for that. You're called the sea lion. Mystic of Muscle demonstrates awareness of moral threat. Maybe she saw me as a moral threat. All right, let me read through some more of these. Okay, so the last one I read was Dutzy at 12:47 p.m. Pacific. She said she didn't send me to the gulag right away. Yeah, she never ended up sending me to the gulag. I never got blocked, at least not to my knowledge. Greg says, implying that you did indeed get blocked. What implies that I did indeed get blocked? Ducci says, dressing like that, but being shocked that someone is using your first name. Sorry, typical women's remark. Um, RW says, good luck not getting distracted in this debate. Need blinders. She does wear revealing clothing. Uh, that's true. I guess if someone is distracting you, you can always just turn off the video. Um, Actually, when I do a call-in show, I'm usually not looking at the screen. Like I call in on my phone. Like when I called the Sam Seder show, I'm I'm just on my phone. I'm not looking at my laptop screen. I guess if it's on Discord, I could see the screen, but I can easily just uh look at move a different window if something's distracting. Um, Greg says sounded like permission to me. Ducey says I'm libertarian. The vast majority of us believe in something like the age of consent. What the hell? Yeah, I don't know what the breakdown is in terms of like what percentage of libertarians think there shouldn't be an age of consent. Maybe it's just a fringe group. I think I might have read about that a little in Peter Schwartz's essay titled Libertarianism, the Perversion of Liberty, which was published back in 1984 or 1985, I think. I think you might have cited in that article some libertarians. So, um, yeah, it could be difficult to make generalizations about what libertarians hold because maybe there is no coherent single ideology. It's a big tense kind of philosophy or viewpoint that allows in all kinds of different views. As long as you agree with that one point, the non-aggression principle, they call it. But then how do you interpret that? Like, are you infringing on someone's liberty are you being aggressive if you forcibly stop someone from um, engaging with a minor? Uh, I think some libertarians, at least, or at least some people who call them that, would say that's a violation of their rights. But I think that's a misunderstanding of rights, or maybe an evasion of a proper understanding of rights. RW asks, do you think any of this streamer's viewers, do you think any of this streamer's viewers are honest people? I highly doubt it, he says. Well, there was sometimes when I come across communists, I think of Nikos, who works at the Ayn Rand Institute, Sotirakopoulos. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right. Nikos Sotirakopoulos. He was a communist, and he's talked about this. So now I don't know if you would say like he was dishonest when he was a communist, or was he an honest communist who, because of his honesty, eventually shed communism and rejected it? Or is it that as long as you're a communist, you have to be dishonest? Um, or is that an inherently dishonest position? I think Leonard Peikoff discusses that example in his article Fact and Value. But he qualifies it in a way. He says, like, if you're a Marxist professor So you've been studying it for decades. You know about the history of Marxism. He says you can't honestly be an academic Marxist. But if we're talking about like someone much younger, someone in their 20s, maybe they're just encountering all kinds of ideologies. They're much newer to the scene. I think it's at least more in like Nikos. I don't know what age he was when he was a communist, but I gather he was maybe in his teens or 20s. But the younger you are, I think the more slack you can cut someone, the less the more likely it is that maybe there's some honest error. And then the longer someone persists in it, I think the less likely it can be held honestly because you've just had more and more opportunity to see what's wrong with it. And I would guess that many of this, I mean, many of the streamer's viewers are likely young, I would guess, like in their teens or 20s. But you can also get a sense by seeing how they react. Like when you do make a counter argument, are are people open to that? Do they consider it and try to respond in a rational way, or do they just flip out and throw ad hominems and smears at you and say you're trolling? So how they engage with objections to their viewpoint, I think, is the sign as to whether they're being honest and in holding this view, whether it's just kind of they're making up rationalizations to avoid having their view challenged, or are they not doing that? RW asked, "What's the troll question?" The question I came in to the chat asking was, "Does communism respect the individual?" So that was my alleged troll question. She was talking about racism before that and how Ann Coulter was not respecting Vivek Ramaswamy as an individual. And then I said, "Does communism respect the individual?" Greg says, "Would you put her name or her YouTube channel handle?" Oh, you mean in the title of my video? Maybe. I mean, it's definitely it seems like it'd be worth putting in something in the title related to this long segment. Because I've spent so much time on it, but I don't know how I would title it. I could say like reacting to a communist who thought I was trolling her, or I could say reacting to Erin, the communist, or Straighterade. I don't know. I'll think about how I should put it. Oh, Greg says in order for one of her patrons to pass the info back to her. Yeah, I think putting her name in it would make it more likely. Ducey says it's regarding the fact that you knew her name and politics. That was at least some of her evidence that I was trolling. The fact that I addressed her by her name and that I mentioned she was a communist. Greg says it was something you had said earlier in the show that led me to think maybe you would have ended up being blocked. Oh, yeah, I think I said earlier like, will I be blocked? Let's see, or something like that. I left it kind of up in the air as to whether I was eventually going to get blocked, but she hadn't blocked me yet. I said, so you might have thought that she's going to block me later, but no, I don't think she ever did block me, or I don't think her mods ever blocked me. That stream went on for 8 hours, 8+ hours. I was there for like maybe 50 minutes. That whole thing took place over, I think, about, let's see, the last interaction was about 5 hours, 40 minutes. And I started at 4 hours and 50 minutes. Yeah, so that whole interaction was like, that all took place in less than an hour. So I don't know what happened after I left. It's possible I was blocked later, but I have no evidence that I was ever blocked. And the way she left it was that we could debate. I have to contact her through Discord. So maybe her mod thought, okay, well, I guess she's still open to interacting with this guy, so I don't need to block him.